Hi everyone, in this video I want to reference a video where I saw a husband looking at his home and seeing it in a mess. He decided to help out his wife, and in the caption it said that even though he asks his wife for help, most of the time he receives a no. But this time around he thought she obviously needs help, so he decided to help her around. And he concluded that many times women don't want to be burdensome to their spouses, and that's why may not end up asking husbands for help. And that is true of certain segment of population where some women have been brought up so much to be a perfectionist kind of a person, that they decide that everything that they do regarding child care and child rearing, they want to do by themselves. That's why sometimes women might end up not asking for help from their spouses when they need help with cleaning, or if they have kids, all the diapers and kids toys might be around, and things like that can pile up. Also, things can also pile up in a home when a woman is falling sick, or when a woman is going to get their periods, or they are just recovering during the few days of their periods, or they had an exhausting work life, and when they got home they didn't have the energy that day to focus on house chores. So these could be all the multiple reasons why a woman might become slack in cleaning the home. So at those time, like, this guy picked up that cleaning has to happen, and he started voluntarily doing the cleaning without even asking his wife whether she needs help. Is a good call by him, because obviously if your house is got to a level where it's unmanageable and things have to be cleaned up, or even if it hasn't reached this level but it is at a level where minor cleaning help is required, whatever is required, if every time a husband chips in whenever he sees and notices that help is required, and without even asking if he does that, I think most women would appreciate that. Very few women who are very picky about how cleaning has to be done might object a little, but even there, if you speak openly with them, you will figure out what exactly is the issue when they are resisting someone else helping them with the cleaning. Because it is also possible sometimes women have some hygiene and maintenance related intuition that men usually who don't clean do not have that intuition, because of which sometimes women also don't like to ask their spouses to clean, because the spouse may not follow the hygiene protocols. Because, for example, like, say if you have dirty diapers, maybe the dirty diapers have to go in a particular bin. Food might need to be separated out into a different garbage for recycling related to food. Recyclables might go in another garbage related to recyclables. So all these, depending on where you are living, your city may have different regulations, which when men are doing some cleaning activities, this is what I have observed, not this guy in this video, but in general, I've seen sometimes some men and women are there in the world who are very hurried about doing certain things, and they don't follow the protocols related to safety, hygiene, cleanliness, maintenance. So they might mix up the diapers with other things, not understanding that diapers need to go separately, other trash needs to go separately. Because if you have a home garden, a kitchen garden, or if you are doing some sustainability things where you want to grow your own fertilizer from your vegetable for your vegetables, and for that whatever vegetable peels and eggshells and all that are coming out from your wastage in the kitchen, all of those kind of foods can go into your vegetable garden. So that segregation that needs to happen, if you want to either do it for yourself or your city collects those vegetables, whatever is your policy in your home and in your city, if you are hurriedly doing these kind of things, you will not pay attention, and everything can get mixed up in one trash and go away in that one trash. But the more mindful we are, we add not only less to the burden of the spouse we are helping when we are cleaning out in the homes, but we are also aiding the city population, whoever is the city maintenance worker. Their work is also easier now if everything that is given in the guidelines of the city is followed by people. So that is one aspect which can cause a spouse to say no when they obviously need help. But explaining all this, like I'm going to take at least half an hour to explain all the different elements that goes through a woman's brain, and it will go through a woman's brain who's doing this cleaning activity. Maybe it will take them 1 minute or 5 minutes to think all this that I'm explaining in a 1 hour video. And it gets exhausting to explain to someone this same concept when you are tired, when you are exhausted, when you are in period pain, when you are completely sleep deprived because maybe you have kids, or you are sleep deprived because maybe you had a work deadline and you were working on that. Whatever is your reason, multiple reasons will usually be there when we are not able to clean up our rooms, clean up our homes, and be up to standard in some ways. So when we are not able to maintain that, there's always some emotional to physical to psychological. Sometimes emotional reasons also could be there, that maybe your parent died and you're too depressed and grief stricken. Sometimes it could be that you broke up a friendship and that is causing you some emotional distress. Whatever it is, there could be 5-10 different reasons, 1-2 different reasons for this similar scenario to happen in every home. And it is a normal. My home also had these. Even when I was not married, I have had these phases when my rooms look like this, even though I had no children, even though I was not married. Instead of diapers or food lying around, for me it would be, if I'm busy working on something, it would be my rooms would be strewn with paperwork. When I'm sick and I'm just ordering food from outside, then it is all about the food related trash that is accumulating in the home. So everyone has a different reason for something accumulating in their homes and them not being able to do their daily function, which they normally do maybe 20-25 days of the month. But the 5-6 days of the month, when they are extremely tired or exhausted, they may not be able to do it. And especially for women, this is another thing that men don't understand, but our energy cycles also change based on the hormonal levels that are changing in our body cyclically. And with men, while their hormonal regulation happens every 24 hours, for a woman the hormonal regulation cycle is every 28 days roughly. So because of which also there will be some days when they'll be super active and they'll be super energized into cleaning everything, and then there will be days when they are super lethargic about cleaning. That is one aspect. Then the other aspect, apart from all these the factors that I mentioned when a woman may not ask for help, is that some women are very particular also about what cleansing agents to use, which cleansing agent should be used where, because each a bathroom cleansing agent has different kind of chemicals in it. A kitchen cleansing agent might have different kind of chemicals. All of these chemicals, usually if you're buying from a store, have a dilution that needs to be done, and sometimes men don't pay attention to these dilutions that should be done, so they might just use the whole thing without diluting it. Or sometimes, and not just men, sometimes women also do it, when you are doing things in a hurry, doing things unmindfully, people can end up, I have myself made that mistake, that initially when I went to US, and I, in my Indian home, most of the time we had maids to do the cleaning work. That's why in Indian homes I never was involved too much in cleaning of the kitchen or cleaning of the bathrooms. But when I was living by myself in US, I had to be involved in kitchen and bathroom cleaning activities. So when I bought these kitchen cleaners, I didn't realize they need to be diluted. So I ended up using a whole lot of kitchen cleaner, and then I realized that I'm using too much. And when I realized, and I had some breathing problem with the thick concentration of the fluid, so that's when I realized, even if they don't say that you should dilute the product, if I'm having breathing problems, I naturally decided that I'm going to dilute products that are giving me health issues. This is a secondary thing I intuitively gained about my own health, that if I use too much of a concentrated chemical anywhere for any cleaning activity, even if it is at the right dilution level, but if the product is somewhat harmful to my particular body's health condition, I may end up with some skin irritation, eczema like condition, or worsening of health status, breathing problems, depending on what chemical I was using and which brand it was, how allergic I am to the product, or how harmful the product might be to my body. So this intuitive change that you do, I have had this problem explaining this to my own family, like my brother and dad don't understand this, but even though they do get irritated, like basically with the products that we get in India, I found that certain amount of chemicals, like even if the product label says you use 1 capful of this for cleaning activity or as a fabric softener, I realized that 1 capful is too strong in India to be used. So sometimes I don't use 1 capful. Sometimes I use less than 1 capful if less than 1 capful is enough. Or if I have used 1 capful of a dishwashing liquid, not dishwashing, clothes washing detergent, and that 1 capful is too strong and is not going away from the clothes, I have to rinse. I sometimes rinse the clothes double. That is what I used to do. But it's very difficult for me to explain those concepts of intuitively seeing whether the clothes have got washed properly, because even though the load might show maximum load, sometimes the maximum load could be just 10 large curtains, and sometimes the maximum load could be 10 mixed small clothes and large clothes, because of which even though the maximum load has come, sometimes that 1 capful is not necessary, depending on. So intuitive knowledge of cleaning is very important. Why is it important? That most men fail to recognize is because one is, if you are a woman, if you are a weaker member of society, if you have a child in the home, if you are falling sick, if you fall in any of these or all of these categories, at that time any kind of chemical pollution or any kind of additional non-organic chemical is harmful to our health. Because of which what starts happening is, and many of these normally available cleansing agents in the market have already been researched, and many of them have already shown data showing how harmful they are to health, especially the scented ones, the ones which stick into the clothes longer, because the longer a chemical stays in your clothes, the longer it has the capacity to get absorbed by you, the longer it has the capacity to harm your health. So because of which, whatever chemicals you're using in your daily life for washing your clothes, for washing your dishes, for washing your room, cleaning up your surfaces of table and vacuuming, sometimes people use even some kind of liquid cleansers to vacuum their carpet. So whatever you're using for vacuuming, their upholstery, also upholstery cleansers are there, all of which have some chemical impact on our health. And the first time we are using it, it might impact us very minorly, but when we are repeatedly using it daily, weekly, monthly in our homes, whatever is the repeating pattern of use and how much quantity we end up using, all of which after we are cleaning it, the dirty liquid you have to throw in your trash, or whatever you have sprayed on your upholstery as of air freshener, that sticks to your upholstery, that stays in your curtains, wherever you have sprayed something, some of the spraying will still stick to those surfaces. So over time, if over 10 years I've continuously used some chemicals, immediately my skin might start getting allergic to those chemicals after long-term exposure, especially because they are harmful chemicals, especially because they are not harmful when you use it one time or use it in a lower level, but they start becoming harmful when you're using it repeatedly for a long time, and the accumulation of the products and their accumulation in our body over time can eventually end up harming our health. And the weakest person, who is a child, who is a adult, a woman, because women also have a little bit weaker immune system, a little bit different immune system than a man's, because of which women can sometimes feel these things faster. Only men who are also smaller in size, frailer in size, will feel some of these sooner than the taller men, fatter men, or stronger muscular men. Those people, men or women, they will feel it the least or the last in the family. If any health issues are going to crop up, they might also get a health issue, but for them the health issue might occur the last or the least, depending on if they are not doing too much of the cleaning activity. So especially for a woman, when women is majorly in most families doing the cleaning activities, they intuitively, that's why, start picking up all these signaling systems of, if I use too much of this detergent, it might which happened to me. How did I observe? First I observed the strong smell of the liquid I'm using, then some of the liquid, the softeners and the detergents smell was sticking to the clothes, and not just sticking to the clothes, if I wear those clothes now, it was irritating to my skin. I also observed that it is irritating to my brother and dad's skin as well, but they been less mindful about their health, and also I hadn't lived with them for about 13 years, so they had this problem of a woman pointing out to them that this is an issue. If you are using it, it is causing you health problem, but whatever further downstream health problem they will get, if they don't want to align with it, I can't do anything. But if observationally already a chemical is harming their health, it means that eventually it will harm their health further and further downstream. It's just that if you become aware about it, you will become mindful about it, and you will start also doing certain things mindfully. And even if you are not getting this skin irritation, but if you observe that your children are getting irritated and scratching their hands, because I've seen videos of kids who are getting skin irritation from the water pollution and other environmental pollution of their homes. And now if the parents are observant that the kids are scratching their skin, scratching of the skin means some air or environmental factor or water related pollution or clothes related pollution is happening. And clothes related pollution stems only from the cleansing agents you are using, and not just the cleansing agents you use to wash your clothes. You have to be careful about all cleansing agents, because most of us have pipelines that are giving us underground water supply. If not underground water supply is coming from us, even if it is coming from our municipality, the municipality also will have water coming from different pipelines. So now if those pipelines go through areas where water pollution is high in a neighborhood, then or because underground underneath the soil of a place I'm staying, I can't see the water underneath the soil, but there is always some water table present underneath the soil. So when the pipelines are moving through those water table like areas, anywhere there is some pollution, and if there is some microfracture in our pipelines, all those polluting waters are also coming inside via the pipeline into our homes. So whatever chemicals a neighborhood is using will eventually end up adding to our overall water pollution of the water content that is coming to our homes. Similarly, whatever chemicals are additionally added by municipality for whatever different purposes, all of it plays a role in adding to our overall net water pollution levels. And if you have some underground water supply also giving you the water, it's the same principle, that whatever you are getting from your underground water supply will stay as pollution free or as pure as the condition at which you are living. So if you have used less soap, less detergent, less chemicals, you will have less chemically polluted water. But if you have used more of these things, you will have more chemically polluted water, right? So that's why intuitively, if you start observing if some chemical is irritating your skin, your children's skin, your spouse's skin, or if not irritating, you are sneezing or you're getting rashes and eczema, all these are usually places where water pollution could be a factor causing these health issues. And when you're wearing clothes and your skin is itching a lot, either the chemical you used for cleaning the cloth is the culprit, or the dyes that were already present in the cloth could be the culprit, or the water pollution levels were the culprit, or all three in combination could be the culprit in giving this skin irritation to a kid or anyone else in the home. So that's why when I mentioned my dad and my brother, now I was intuitively doing that detergent I will not use mostly 1 cap. Sometimes I will use only 3/4 cap. With the fabric softener, I didn't like the heavy scented fabric softeners. So if I bought one brand, I would only buy one particular scent or unscented version of that brand, because other scented versions were causing skin irritation. And then also the less scented brand that I was buying, that one also I was, instead of using her whole cap full, I was using only 1 ml of it. And that also I couldn't explain to my brother and dad, that we don't need that high level of fabric softener in our country. You use only a little bit. But they are like, no, the instruction says this, we will use instruction wise. But if you follow only instructions and don't follow what your body needs, what ends up happening is you are adding again to the overall toxic overload in your body. And for me, these scented chemicals were giving me extreme headaches. Sometimes they were suffocating me and giving me breathing distress. But this same exposure, if long term, like say, you keep using 1 capful of fabric softener every time you're cleaning your clothes, eventually that 1 capful fabric softener also accumulates in your clothes, because these are all softeners which have long term scented quality, and they stay in your clothes. The smell stays in your clothes for a long time. So whatever you have used for 1-2 years now, it has all accumulated in your clothes. And while I'm using a little bit of it, that's why I'm only getting a headache, or when someone else in the house is using it, I'm getting headache plus sneezing or breathing problems, because I'm inhaling it from the air. But the one who is wearing now those clothes that have been washed with higher concentrated chemicals, those people I have observed sometimes they're not observing and being mindful about the headaches they might have. They're not observant about the skin irritation they are having, and neither are they observant that as a result of these extreme exposure to these multiple chemicals, sometimes they are very irritated, sometimes they are very psychotically behaving as well, even though they are men and they are not women. Whereas for women, there's like every 28 days women has period cycle. So even those women who get sometimes PMDD symptoms, very strong anger symptoms during their periods or just before their periods, those women, I would suggest those women to actually observe all the scented products that they are using. Every kind of scented product. It could be a shampoo, it could be a makeup product, it could be a body wash, body sprays, perfume, cologne of a man, shaving cream related, scented shaving cream of a man. Because all these products do give me headaches and do sometimes tend to cause a emotional problem when someone around me is using them heavily, and my body and my system is not able to process it and clear it from my brains, and I end up then with mood problems. So that's why when a woman is asked, can I help you, and she is in her period days and she's using some scented product because she has periods, her mood is already disrupted because of periods, her mood is already disrupted because of the scented product she's using. And then if someone asks, can I help you, and the woman might be halfway through it, she might say no, because she's already done half the work and she feels explaining like this 24 minutes that I took, like, and out of these 24 minutes at least 10 minutes were just simple instructions of how to dilute, how to dilute intuitively, how to be mindful, how to be careful in separating things. all these, if you're already exhausted women, can you tell that to your husband? And maybe that woman might have tried telling to the husband this same thing a couple of times, but after 2-3 times or 10 times of telling a spouse, if you've been married long term, you might have even told them 100 times to do a particular thing in a particular way, but the man has not been paying attention. Because again, when women uses too many sentences, men sometimes tune out also all the instructions. The simplest instruction is, don't dilute it as per the label, dilute according to your need, or use lower quantity. That is the simplest explanation. But some men, not this guy, but as when I told the men, gave the examples of the men in my house, they are like that if you give them instruction, the simplest instruction, they don't want to follow because it's different from the labels. And if you give them complex detailed reason as to why this should be done because of health reasons, like I'm making this video, some men don't even want to follow that as well, because they simply don't care enough about the people they are coexisting with. Because if you really are a family with someone, and if you really care about them, if someone says it's giving me skin irritation, I am coughing, I am getting headache, I'm not able to breathe, would you be considerate enough to ensure that that simplest thing that is possible for you to do can be done? And instead of adding like heavy amount of your complaint is, if I don't use one capful, my dirty collars are not going to get easily cleaned. But there is a reason why your dirty collar anyways is not getting easily cleaned. Most of the time, if you are a mindful housewife, or if you are a mindful cleaning person, or if you have the energy to be mindfully doing all this, because I have been both the person who doesn't, what you have to do is, you have to scrub a little, you have to brush a little in the really stained areas, or you can add a little bit of salt and a little bit of lemon also to these things to scrub that area, to let the greasy stain filled collar areas become better. Or if you have ankle areas which are getting dirty, from in India many of our pants get dirty very easily because Indian roads are much dustier than other developed nations' roads. So when you're walking on the roads, your ankles of your pants might get dusty, your trousers are dustier. So again, the same thing, you have to scrub it a little. If I have periods, I have to scrub my period clothes a little bit where stain is there. So all these mindfully cleaning a cloth also, if you are busy, if you are exhausted from multiple chores you are doing, you will not mindfully observe and do all these things. But when you are not busy, when you do have the energy, when you are the stronger one in the family, shouldn't you be putting a little bit of arm action, putting a little bit of mindfulness in the cleansing activity that you are doing? Because everyone in my family, one person in my family has a very energetic personality, so they can easily use that energy, that the excess energy that they have, that anxious energy that they have, if they use it fruitfully, they can use that anxious energy to brush away all these clothes, scrub away all the things that just need a little bit extra scrubbing action than more of the soap. Soap is for those people who don't have that muscular energy, or one of the persons had a heavy build, so they are really physically strong, so they can again give a little bit of muscular action, and easily all these scrubbing actions will be done in no time. Like if a woman might take 5 minutes to do it, a man can easily do it in 1 minute. But in order to do that, you have to think, you have to learn, you have to be willing to understand why this needs to be done, because it's the safer and healthier route. And I have had, in India we have these apps which can order help to come and help you. So when I was sick and not able to clean my home normally, I have hired people to come and clean my home. Or when some one yearly cleaning has to be done, at that time I have hired help to clean. Many of these cleansing apps, cleaner help apps, have mostly men cleaners only coming. But the problem is those cleaners, and these men are being hired by them because men are these quick fix kind. They want to quickly do everything. So these cleaners come and they quickly do it. If it is a 3-hour job, they sometimes do it in 2 hours or 2.5 hours and leaves quickly and sooner. But the problem is they all use heavy amounts of chemicals, heavy amounts of toxic chemicals, which are going to eventually harm them also. The skin might be irritated as a result of it. The skin might have started showing up eczema like conditions. Their lungs might start showing up health problems, but they don't realize the long term consequence of using these toxic chemicals. And again, if they use a little bit more mindfully, if they have strong hands, so if they have strong hands, they can easily just scrub without using like I literally had some cleaners come and I tried to convince them to, instead of using their chemicals, to use vinegar, water and a little bit of soap. That's it. But they are like, oh, we have to scrub a little bit longer. So what if you do that 10 minutes extra scrubbing instead of a quick fix liquid that you're using to scrub it all? What is happening is that inhalation and absorption you're doing of this quick fix chemical usually will have a health impact eventually for you, which you're not understanding. In fact, one of the guys had also got some health issue at that time. He came with stitches. It's even more dangerous for that guy who came with stitches to do this work, because again, if you have stitches, there's a little bit of open wound going on and that wounding hasn't recovered, and you're harming that wound, you're preventing that wound from recovering if you are piling all kinds of artificial and harmful, health harming chemicals. Because when you're spraying on the wall and you're standing and spraying, isn't it going to come a little bit spillover is going to happen near where he had stitches. The stitches were near his face. So that is a problem zone. Wherever you have stitches, even if you're spraying, a little bit will fall invariably on your skin, and even if it doesn't directly fall on the stitches, it might get absorbed in the body and end up with preventing your healing from happening properly. So that's why it is very necessary. Like some people in enthusiasm decide that this is the instruction, this is what I will do, but instructions are not always the right thing to do. You have to attune yourself a little bit to the needs actually of the long term. If you want to save your health long term, these mindful practices are necessary, not just for you. If you want to save healthcare costs also long term for you or your family, you should do this. Because if in the same family, like there are say 2 families in the same locality living with 2 4-member families with 2 kids and 2 parents of opposite gender raising those kids, say if both the families, one family mindfully uses chemical agents, is mindfully using lower concentration of these, is doing more of using organic cleaners to do the cleaning, like natural based products to do the cleaning, versus the other who just uses whatever is according to instruction and does it hurriedly, which family will reap the benefit? They may not reap the benefit the first year or first 5 years they did this practice, but eventually after 10 years, the one who was hurriedly doing things, the one who was mindlessly doing things, the one who didn't care how much soap they are pouring or whatever is the instruction, that's all that they will do, but they're not seeing whether it's still a large amount for the number of clothes they are washing. All these things whoever did, that family will have more health issues in the family members. There will be invariably some chronic health issue that will crop up as a result of these less mindful practices one is doing in their home. That's why in their home or in their job also, if you're a cleaning personnel also, you need to become mindful of this. And I also found in places like resort towns where I went to Goa, and Goa is one of the tourist destinations of India. So and some other similar tourist destination places I went to, I found that, and most of these tourist destination places were also places where underground water supply was major part of their water supply. So in their bathrooms, when I am washing the clothes, in some hotels there is so much accumulation of soap now, because they are popular hotels or popular resorts, that the high accumulation of soaps in their underground water supply means that when I'm washing the clothes, I didn't even have to use any soap to wash even my period stained clothes there. A little bit of salt and that soapy water that was coming from their tap was enough to clean my clothes. So this is the thing people have to observe, that if you are using underground water supply especially, or even your municipality supply, and if there is some soapy concentration already in your water, you don't even need that high level of soap, additional soap content to clean anything. So that is another thing. And if you have operated long term already, if you're living in an area for 10 years and you're not a resort, you're just a normal home, but in normal home also resorts do a little bit 5 times more cleaning activities than a normal home will do. But in a normal home also, within 10 years a lot of accumulated pollution can happen, which has happened in my those relatives homes who are using underground water supply, who live in town like areas, village like areas, city like areas. In all of their homes, the problem related to sewage or problem related to wastage of whatever water was used by them, those water pollution related factors are an invariable part of their health, even though they may not realize it. You realizing or not realizing it doesn't is not going to prevent that health factor from happening in your life. If there is water pollution, it will invariably have a health impact. Now how deeply it will have is depending on your health status and the level of water pollution you are getting exposed to. Where again, if 4 family members are there and there is a kid, there is a teen, there is a lady, and there is a man. If the man is bulky and overweight, or muscular and tall, whatever, he will get the impact the least possibly out of all of them. But the one who is the frailest, the one who is the most sensitive, the one whose immune system is failing, or the one whose immune system is changing, all of these people might end up having a sooner health impact from all these environmental conditions. So that's why, while what this guy did was very commendable and he should do it, every man, if they do this for their wives occasionally without even asking, I'm sure every wife will be extremely grateful for their husband doing it. But along with doing it every time, you think, being thoughtful about doing it for your spouse, or just doing it because it is your home as well, or because you live with your kids and you love doing this for your family, whatever is your reason to do it, when you are doing it, the more mindfully you do these practices according to your home related needs, according to your children's needs, according to your family's needs, according to your city specifications, and also according to their health needs, then the better you follow the health and hygiene practices, the more considerate you are about them and their health, and the more love and mindfulness and thoughtfulness you showed, the more they will be, you all as a family will reap the benefits. Because say you use extreme high amounts of chemicals, and the child or the woman, they both are very sensitive to those chemicals. So when you possibly use a normal amount that is suggested in the label, but that amount is still toxic for the wife and the child, then what will happen? The child might get sicker, start coughing more. If the child is sick, you have to give attention to the child. If you give more attention to the child, you don't get to give attention to yourself, so then eventually you might fall sick. Or if it is something that gives you headache, you may have mood swings, you may have anxiety. If something like that is cropping up in your health, the headache and anxiety and whatever health issue is cropping up with you or your child, if all of you are together getting headaches and anxiety or other things, or one person gets anxiety, one person is getting headache, one person is getting cranky, all of them combined, again it makes a very exhaustive home, right? So one small act of just listening 10 minutes and then following some extra 10 minutes of mindfulness based practice, or extra 2 minutes of a mindfulness based cleaning activity, will save you 50-100 hours sometimes of exhaustion if you don't follow it mindfully. And eventually, repeatedly, you might be getting anxious, repeatedly you might have skin irritation, and you might be falling sick, or your immune system might be going down without you realizing that all you had to do was slowly do one small act of mindfulness based home cleaning, home caretaking, home health and hygiene related maintenance. I hope this was insightful, and if anyone has any questions, please drop a comment. Thank you very much.